Welcome back to Life Begins at 50 on KDKA TV, and I'm your host, Carol Lee Espy, and today we're featuring 5 excellent tri-state area businesses. Well, coming up, we have Dr. Nathan Lockery from Aspen Dental, and he'll introduce you to a satisfied client, and finally, Mark and Brian Devlin from Devlin Funeral Homes. They're going to talk to us about the importance of pre-planning a loved one's funerals. But right now, let's welcome Michael J. O'Connor of Michael J. O'Connor Associates. Welcome to Life Begins at 50.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we were just talking about what your law firm specializes in, and these are things that people 50 and over are very concerned with. One of them would be Social Security disability, and exactly what, I mean, it just seems like a big mass of papers and gobbledygook for people to have to deal with. So what happens when you're at that stage?
Well, Social Security disability is an insurance you pay in your paycheck every week or every 2 weeks.
Right.
And basically that's an insurance. If you become disabled, you can go and collect that insurance and be able to have a benefit every month. And it should last until you're 65 years old. So if you're totally disabled without able to go back to work, you can go back and try to claim Social Security disability, and there's a process for doing that. There's a hearing. If you get denied, there's a hearing process, and we're able to walk you through that hearing process to make sure that you get a benefit, which would be a wage benefit every month. And after 1 year, you can qualify for Medicare, so you can also get some medical insurance for you and your family. So it's a very important benefit that people need in times when they don't have workers' compensation or some other insurance to go to. They can go back to Social Security disability, and that should be able to tie them over until they reach retirement age.
How does this affect the spouse in this? And if you're, let's say you're a widow or whatever, and you have, you're a widow and you have a disability, do you collect on the deceased, or is it strictly on yours?
It's strictly on you.
Okay.
Basically, it's on your insurance.
Okay.
There are some other benefits. There's a death benefit if it's related.
Okay.
But basically what happens is that it's an insurance on yourself.
Okay.
And that you pay in and you're able to collect on. And it's something that is needed today because of the economic conditions, and people sometimes have to go to that Social Security disability in order to survive. And we're seeing that more and more claims are up in probably the last year.
But it's money you've been paying into all your life, your working life.
It's insurance premiums you've been paying, but you don't realize it because it's coming out of your paycheck.
Right.
And so what happens is that when you have that ability to collect and you need money to survive, this is one avenue you can go to.
And you said that this ends at 65, so does that then your retirement kicks in?
So your retirement kicks in at that point, and then you're able to collect on that.
Okay. Now let's talk about workers' compensation claims too. What should, at an age of, let's say 55, do you take a lump sum or do you take the payments? What do you, it's kind of like when you win the lottery. At what age do you take the whole, what do you advise?
And it differs between case to case. But basically what we see with people over 50 is that their bodies are wearing down. They're working in either in the construction trades, or they're coal miners, or they're steel workers, or they're iron workers. And basically what happens is that they're disabled, they get hurt, and they can't go back to that job again because it's just too rigorous. So they have to face a lot of different facts on whether or not to take a lump sum or not. And basically one of the things you're facing retirement. You might have a kid in college.
Right.
You might also have a wedding coming up or some other bills that you have to pay.
Right.
So all this stuff has to come into consideration of whether or not you should take a lump sum benefit. And a lump sum benefit is good because you get the cash in your pocket. The insurance company is not holding the cash with them. You're getting and you're investing it, but you have to have a plan to be able to make sure that that money will last until you have your retirement. Either your pension kicks in or your Social Security retirement kicks in.
Right. And when it's an expensive time of life, and people think that's actually when you start coasting, but you actually have more financial responsibility than you can even imagine.
It's a big difference between somebody who's 50 and somebody who's 35 who gets hurt.
Right.
They're a whole different set of priorities.
Yes.
Both of them are important, but over 50, there's a whole set of planning that has to be done in order to make sure that you're getting your right benefits.
So what exactly, just to be clear, the difference between workman's comp and disability?
Well, workers' compensation, you have to be hurt at work. And what happens is that you have to give notice to your employer that you're injured, and then they're either going to accept or deny your claim. And if they deny your claim, we can file a petition, which is known as the claim petition, to help you receive your workers' compensation benefits.
Right, and that's limited just to work.
That's limit this to work. Now, Social Security disability, you include all of your disability, not only the one that happened at work, but also any other condition you might have, the diabetes or anything else that you might have that's wrong with you, you include for Social Security disability. So it's not just limited to what happened at work.
Now, do folks carry both, or can you either do one or the other?
You can actually collect both, and there's an offset on your Social Security benefit while you're collecting workers' compensation. So you can collect both, and a lot of people do collect both. Because what it does is that workers' compensation only provides medical insurance for your work injury. Where if you're on Medicare and on Social Security disability, what happens is at that point you can get, for any part of your body that's hurt or injured, you're able to get insurance for. And then you can also purchase that insurance for your family, which is important, where workers' comp only covers the worker.
Right. Well, it's a ton of paperwork, and I went through it with parents, and even just learning about Medicare Part D and all of the things that go on with that. And there is so much to it, and it's nice to have someone in your corner that has read everything and knows. And the possibility of all that changing, where does that put everything now? Are people kind of on pins and needles with the fact that there could be all this reform, or you just...
Well, I'm not sure how it's going to affect the workers' compensation system.
You don't think that's going to change?
I think workers' comp is guided by a state statute, and that's what protects the people in Pennsylvania. Each state has their own statute. I just don't foresee that there'll be someday a federal workers' compensation for everyone in the country. So I believe it's going to stay local. It's going to stay by the state. And the workers' compensation system in Pennsylvania has been working pretty well, as far as we have been getting prompt hearings, and we're able to get your case in front of a judge pretty quickly. And what happens is also with these lump sum payments, you have to get it approved by a judge. So you go in front of a hearing, in front of a workers' compensation judge. He looks over the facts, and as long as everything looks good, he should approve your lump sum settlement.
Well, I mean, when you're at a point where you're unable to do your job, this is the time now when you can go back into the things that you've worked for a long time, such as putting money into Social Security, such as whatever workman's comp you were putting into also. So it's good to have a guide through it all, though. It can be quite confusing.
And one of the things we see is that we see a lot where people take the lump sum and then they find another job. So what
happens?
Well, what happens is that they keep their lump sum. The lump sum is theirs, and they're able to invest that, and they get a job which maybe is not as strenuous as working, in a coal mine or working in a steel mill.
And they're contributing again.
And they're contributing again, and they're able to get that extra income. Plus, you have the lump sum saved for your retirement and for when your family might need that kind of money. Okay,
so let's go beyond retirement, because we do have, Pennsylvania has a very large elderly population.
They do.
And nursing home is a reality, or assisted living for many people, and it's a tough game for people to figure out where to go, what to do, and you have a lot of papers you have to sign. You also have to be very aware of the fact that there is some abuse going on. And that's where you come in once again.
And unfortunately, we do see a lot of abuse in nursing homes. And there's some very good nursing homes out there, but there's also some nursing homes that are understaffed or that they had not trained their staff properly. And we see a lot of situations where there's bed sores or broken bones or other type of injuries that should not be happening. And one piece of advice that we can give is that if your loved one is in a nursing home, please visit them often, because the way we see it is the more you visit, the more you're asking to have them being taken care of by the nursing home, because the ones that we see where the problems are the ones where maybe somebody hasn't visited for 2 or 3 months.
And they know you haven't been there.
And you see the deterioration when you go back. You can see the difference between but if you go every week or every 2 weeks, I think that helps keep them accountable. The fact that they are taking care of your loved one and making sure that they are getting their meds and making sure they're getting their rehab and everything else that they need in that nursing home. But it's very important to go visit.
But you do have legal recourse in case that's not going
Unfortunately, if that's the case, then there is legal recourse, and we do see that.
Sometimes people live out of town and they can't get back in to see. So, I mean, they're just going on the good intentions of these folks.
And that's what we see. We see a lot of times when people come from out of town and they visit maybe over the holidays between Thanksgiving and Christmas or Mother's Day. That's the time when we see a lot of reports when they come in from out of town and say, wait a minute, something's not right here. We're seeing that there's black and blue bruises on
yeah.
people, and also that they've not been taken care of, or they lost a lot of weight and not being fed correctly. So it's very important to go visit. But if you do see abuse, we're there to help you with that, because we've been doing that for a while.
And I don't want to say it's at a crisis point, but there are so many understaffed of this, and it's a tough one. And thank you very much, Michael, for being here with us.
Thank you for having us.
We cleared up some things. I mean, they're tough. The disabilities and workman comps, there's a lot of paperwork and a lot to look into, but there's help out there for you. If you'd like to know more about Michael J. O'Connor and Associates, give them a call at 1-800-518-4LAW or log on to o'connorlaw.com. And if you'd like to advertise your products or services on Life Begins at 50, just give us a call at 412-575-2400 or email us at showcase@kdka.com. Up next, we'll talk to Dr. Nathan Lockery of Aspen Dental, and that's next when Life Begins at 50 continues.